My name is Richichi, and I am the CEO and founder of Sprockets. Right now, in the hourly workforce, there's tremendous pain around diversity and inclusion. White-sounding names get 50% more callbacks than non-white-sounding names. The average general manager will ask between 7 and 9 illegal interview questions every single phone call. We want to give everyone a fair shake, regardless of where they're from, where they went to college, and what they look like, to get employment. We take things into consideration using really sophisticated technology to make sure that we're creating an equitable hiring process versus this concept and this, really what's happening right now is people are just hiring people that look exactly like their top performers. And so Sprockets, we like to think, is the ultimate equalizer to give people who come from different areas equal opportunity. So the product is a self-service online platform where any employer can simply create a username, a password, and attach our 3-question online survey to whatever job board they're currently using. When a candidate applies, they'll take our assessment, and then we will give you predictive analytics using AI to help you predict if that person's going to be successful long-term at your company or if they're going to leave before the 90-day point. So right now, Sprockets is being deployed from C-suite at Fortune 500 companies all the way down to housekeepers and cashiers at fast food restaurant chains. Sprockets originated in sports, actually, where in school, I was really curious to why professional sports teams are historically bad at drafting the right players. What I learned through my research is that it's because people are looking at statistics, right, that showcase an individual's physical skills. How far somebody can throw, how fast somebody can run, and how high somebody can jump. All are really important in pro sports, obviously, but none really defined what it took to be a successful NFL quarterback. So the very first version of our platform was to help NFL teams with psychology predict who has the right stuff between the ears to be a really successful NFL quarterback. So it's self-funded dorm room project sort of thing. And then the owner of one of the professional sports teams was our first angel investor. We were working with a number of sports teams, and then we started to bring the data and technology to a number of local companies in Charleston that were what I would call friendlies. People who allowed us to analyze their people, start analyzing their candidates in controlled experiments so that we could get further validation for everything we needed with the Department of Labor. And during that time, we raised a very small seed round from Venture South as well as SCRA, both funds within the South Carolina ecosystem. So with that deployment of capital, we were able to really make the product self-service, work on the algorithms, bolster the AI, and then go out in 2020 and raise a $3.4 million seed round from different funds in San Francisco as well as New York City. In our first ever case study, again, we're a relatively new company. We did 500 customers, and on average, we increased 90-day retention by 45%, decreased the amount of time that you spend screening applicants by 40%, and saved each location of each franchise between $20,000 and $30,000 in the first 90 days in hiring costs. Innovation is looking at a problem differently. I think it's rare that innovation comes from within a particular discipline. You exchange a little bit of information and you make a gut decision if you think that person's a good intellectual and cultural fit. But at Sprockets, we look at the problem differently. I didn't have any predisposed thoughts of how things should be done. I looked at it as a problem. There's a ton of turnover, there's a ton of discrimination, there's a ton of inefficiencies. How, if there wasn't any limit to tech, to money, to process, how would we fix it? And that's how Sprockets was born. What I was taught really early in my career was to start engagements with VCs far before you ask for money. People oftentimes ask me, okay, I have a business and I want to raise money. What should I do next? And what I always tell people is you're already 6 months too late, because you should already be asking venture capitalists those questions if you're starting to think about it. So again, the best time to reach out to a VC is when you're not asking for money. Start building the relationships, start to determine what funds are looking at your type of deals, and then build your business around the metrics that they're looking for so that you can achieve their investment thesis, get into their portfolio, and scale the way that they envision every company that they invest in scaling. I think that one of the greatest misconceptions in entrepreneurship, especially tech startups, is that reaching VCs is difficult. But venture capitalists are in a competitive landscape where they are tasked with writing as many checks to really qualified founders as they can. Otherwise, their economics don't work and they can't respond to their investors. And if you don't do the research to understand who you're talking to is looking for what specific thing, you're oftentimes just gonna be barking up the wrong tree. And so that's why it's so important to build those relationships early. I think an epic failure for us was starting the technology in the white collar workforce. So we were going into boardrooms and telling people who've worked in HR for 25 years that their process was broken, that they were making bad hiring decisions, that they were using their gut, that they were being discriminatory. And when you're 25 years old and you say things like that to somebody that's 25 years of experience, it doesn't go very well. And it wasn't really that successful. And I remember sitting with my wife and my daughter, who was just born at the time, in a high chair, and I was at Chick-fil-A. And I was kind of down in the dumps, and general managers at Chick-fil-A are so kind and friendly. And I think that the general manager could see that I was a little bit down, or he just came over to say hi. And he's like, "Oh, can I help you with anything?" And then I told him a little bit about our technology. And I said, "I don't understand why people are buying this in this space. I know that we're early, but I thought things would move faster." And after I told him a little bit about the functionality, he asked me one question: "Do you take cash?" I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes to the cash register, he takes out $100, and he's like, "Hey, here's my first month subscription. I think you have something really special here." So then at that point, I get really excited. I start doing incredible market research, and I call 5 more Chick-fil-A's the next day. And since then, we moved almost exclusively to the hourly workforce rather than the salaried workforce, and really put our foot in the dirt and started sprinting ever since. We changed our name in 2020 from Sentio to Sprockets. And for us, it was a rebirth of the company, going from a few people in a garage to a fully fledged technology enterprise. And I love the name Sprockets because as a gear, it powers huge machines with a very small piece. And that's what we're doing for our customers, is we're helping them build these transformative machines and businesses with hourly workers. Jim Rohn has this phrase that I say often. It's, "You are the 5 people you spend the most time with." But if you have friends and people around you that push you to be better, that constantly nag at you to innovate and to improve yourself, not only in business, but in your personal and spiritual and emotional goals, that's when you start to really see this profound change within yourself as a human being. I've been really fortunate in my life to build a network of mentors in South Carolina and beyond, people that I really aspire to be like, people who inspire me based on the work that they've done, and people who really are willing to invest their time in pushing me to be my very best. I think the best way to get somebody to mentor you is to write a cold email, make it complimentary, tell them that they've built this amazing business, you aspire to be like them, and you'd like to take them out for coffee, or you'd like to bring them out for dinner. So after a stint in Washington, D.C., my wife and I had an opportunity to really go anywhere in the country. We knew we wanted to leave the city, and we wanted to go somewhere where tech was thriving. So we started to look at different cities, and when we came to Charleston, I knew it was a special place because in every single one of those cities, I reached out to 5 local founders. I said, "Hey, my name's AJ Richichi. I'm thinking about moving here. what are your thoughts about the community, or would you be willing to meet for coffee, or hey, I'd love to learn from you as a mentor. And in Charleston, 4 out of the 5 founders reached back out to me on that cold email. And in other cities, it was significantly less. So for us, it was a few things, but being around a community that would support me as an entrepreneur, support Sprockets as a business, as well as have the beautiful beaches in downtown area, it was a no-brainer for us to come here. My name is AJ Richichi, and these are my notes on innovation.